Hey guys, this is V Man from No Budget Productions, and running a little bit late. Oh, actually, here he is right now. I guess I was the one who was. Here we go.
Hold on, Vance.
Oh,
I'm not.
no
My
rush.
camera's not working.
No rush, man. Or no worries, man. Technology is a terrible thing, isn't it, Alec? So with us in the chat is Frank Parker. Says good afternoon, V Man. Good afternoon, Alec. And Frank is my partner in crime on the channel.
God damn it.
Zam says hi. Hey, what's up, Zam? Or Zasmus. Still going on with the Santa Claus. Welcome, Zam. Dave G is down, says Yodel's hopes. What's up, Dave G? It's been a while, man. Welcome back. Good to see you, man. Anytime you visit, it's always a pleasure to have you, man.
What the fuck is going on?
Okay. Well, Frank says it happens to his also. He says, are you using a Canon application? You may need to change it under the camera settings. Would that be the issue, Alec?
What is?
I'm not sure. It's all Greek to me. I always use my camera or my phone. So I'm all this stuff is Greek to me, man. But Frank says this also happens to him. But he says if you're using a Canon application, you may need to change it under camera settings. I'll send you the link, Frank, and you can kind of talk and see if it's will help. Give me 1 second, Frank. There you go, Frank. It should be appearing in your thing now.
Hi.
Hey, welcome, Frank.
Hi, Alec. This is Frank. If you go down to the bottom.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Alec.
Oh,
This is Frank. If you go down to the bottom Let me turn that on.
Come on.
I did that again. I had my other one going. Oh, he got it. All right. Yeah, it's down under the camera settings. If you pull those up, it's under camera and then your camera switching.
There we go.
Okay.
Alec, welcome.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yep, we hear you good. Can you hear us?
All right, I can't hear. That's the problem. Hold on.
Okay. I didn't expect to do this. I still got the PhilQuest logo up there.
Put the stripper pole up, Frank.
No. Let's see. What do I want today?
There we go. Give me a
Can you hear
sound
us?
check. Now I can.
There we go.
Sorry,
Welcome, Alec.
the camera was just, I don't know, freaking out because the light was. I have a new rig here, and I somehow the camera didn't want to be on next to the light. I don't know. It was weird. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Good.
Well, Alec, this is my partner in crime, Frank.
Frank, how are you?
Doing good, Alec. How you doing today?
Good.
I think we chatted once in a while in chat on Facebook.
I'm sure. Who
The
have I not chatted with?
So with us in the chat, real quick, we do have Santa Claus, who is joining us. I think he's taken over Zam's real account. He's supposed to be with us. He's a hacker who's going to be with us till around the Christmas time era, so we got to bear with him. We have Dave G Sound. He says yodels, folks.
Yo, Dave.
We have William Wells, who says Cape Burglar here. So if you have a cape, you better watch it because he burgles those capes like no one else. We have Brightest Day. He says, hey, yo, how we doing? We have, let's see. Dave G. Sound says, I always see the replays Vance's work and wife's time. You know, I try to catch you live when I'm available. Hey, Dave, anytime you get to catch, it's always great to see you, man. You know, and that's the thing, like all of us online, we're part of the same community and we always rub elbows with each other. You know, we catch each other when we can, but it's always a pleasure, you know, like two ships sailing in the night. You know, it's a pleasure to see you, my friend. You know, let's see.
If there's submarines passing each other.
Right. Then we have Red Tiller 1975. Says hello, everyone. Hello. 2 lives in 2 days for me. There you go, man. There you go. So, all right, Alec. So I wanted to have you on today because you and I have talked about
Everything.
fan films. We've talked politics. We've talked, everything of life. But today I wanted to have you on just to kind of bullshit about general Star Trek. I got to thinking, as I wind down this season of Pizza Roll Diaries, and I'm kind of coming to an end for this, this year, and we're going to take a month off in January to just kind of detox from YouTube for a bit. I wanted to have you on because I got to thinking, when you and I first talked, we bullshitted for like an hour or so, or 45 minutes, just straight about Star Trek and what it meant to us. Just talking.
Ooh.
Well, hello, puppy.
That's
Oh, my
Pee-wee.
goodness.
Pee-wee in his Christmas sweater.
Oh, how adorable.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
I want-
he's one of our 4 rescues, and he's my little boy.
oh.
Well, he's my old man. How old are you, Pee-wee? Pee-wee's like 14, right? 13 or 14.
Oh, yeah. He's the same age as our little Noble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's a great little guy. And he loves being on my lap all the time.
Oh, they
Right,
do.
all
Yeah,
the time.
now he's a Chihuahua mix, right?
Now he's probably, you never know, but he's probably pretty purebred Applehead Chihuahua.
Okay.
We have 2 Chihuahuas as well. We rescued them all at the same time. It was the beginning of our rescue journey.
Oh wow! Yes,
And-
I love rescues.
Santa Claus says rescues and strays make the best pets, and you are absolutely right. I know
Absolutely.
Neelix, our big dog, like he's that was what he was, because his previous owner had just gotten rid of him, and I completely agree with you on that. Absolutely. Welcome, Captain Baxley. But no, like I wanted to invite you on this morning just to generally. Here comes another. See, now you make me. Now you both make me regret locking my door so Neelix and Rufus can't barge in here. You know.
This is my little buddy that's been working with me on the bridge down in the garage.
Oh,
Say hi, Snapples. All right, go.
But no, I like I said, I got to thinking about the first time you and I had talked, and just talking about Star Trek in general. So I figured this would be kind of just a fun, no stress of the fan films or politics or nothing. Just a real lighthearted talk about Trek and what it meant to us, for the next hour or so. So kicking that off, and with Frank here with us, I mean that, what are our experiences with Trek and what it means to us. So, what going back to it, what was your experience with your first episode of Trek, man?
wow. I mean, my first episode of Trek was The Man Trap, because I saw that when it first aired in 1966. I was 6 years old and old enough to know I liked science fiction. And I remember the teaser trailers for, coming this fall Star Trek. And and so I saw it. And as I always say, the third season, when it got 68, when it got moved to 10 o'clock on Friday nights, that was past my bedtime. And my mom would put me to bed at 8, wake me up at 10, let me see Star Trek, and put me back to bed again.
No joke, huh?
Yeah. And I got to tell that story to Leonard Nimoy when I ambushed him in a parking lot outside William Shatner's agent's office once. I was on the phone. No, I was outside. It was at Jerry's Deli, which is a famous actor's haunt in Hollywood, on Ventura Boulevard in the Valley. And I had pulled in. I was going to go inside and get something to eat, and so because they have great Jewish pastry, like black and white cookies and stuff. So anyway, I pulled in, and I was on the phone with my friend James Bell, and we were just chatting, and I was facing away from Jerry's Deli, which put you, if you're facing kind of northwest, you're facing this building, and it's an office building. And this guy walks out of the office building. As he's getting closer, he's walking my way. I'm like, holy shit, that's Leonard Nimoy. I'm going to call you back. Click. And I went out and I just said, excuse me, Mr. Nimoy, I'm sorry to ambush you, but I just want to say I'm a huge fan. And I proceeded to tell him that story. I said, I've been a fan since it was first on. And this is about 10 years ago. This is probably 2012, 2013, right in there. Maybe 2014. It might have been that late, but anyway, right in that area. And so there you go. So that's that. And I had a couple. And the other time I met Nimoy was he was signing his book, I Am Spock, his sequel autobiography. And I was in West LA at Century City Mall. And probably eating again. And there's this line forming outside the Barnes and Noble. And I mean, like 4 people in line, 5 people in line. I'm like, what are you guys waiting in line for? I figured it's an author book signing. And she goes, yeah, Leonard Nimoy is signing his autobiography. And I'm like, really? And I jumped in line. I was like 5th person in line. We waited for, I don't know, half hour, an hour, whatever it was. And I got to have him autograph a book. And I just said, thanks for all you've done. That was it. And all right, he looked up at me and said, a very genuine guy. He looked up at me and said, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, and that was it. So my two experiences with Leonard Nimoy. And it's so funny because, like, you know, we pride ourselves on being adults, and we're adult, we're educated, sophisticated fans. We're not just screaming fanboys. But man, every once in a while, you meet one of your heroes, and you just become a screaming fanboy. Oh, I went fanboy on Avery Brooks' ass at the Christie's auction in 2006. And
I would have too. Avery Brooks was my. Will Wheaton was my childhood hero. You know, I know Wesley Crusher gets a lot of shit, you know, but like realistically, like that. What's that now?
Deservedly so.
Well, yeah. Anytime you have a kid saving the Enterprise like 15 times a season, you know, it's like, come on,
way too much.
Yeah. But like realistically, like that character kept me out of drugs when I was a kid, you know, because I would always think, what would Wesley do? You know, that character, helped me get better grades in school. That character kept me out of drugs because I would always think Wesley wouldn't do drugs. Wesley would focus on studies. Wesley would, you know. So when I had the chance to go meet him about 6 years ago at PlanetCon in Topeka, or was it Kansas City? I forget. I think it was Kansas. Yeah, it was Kansas City. I jumped at the chance. I was like, you know, regardless of who was there. Santa Claus said Wesley made me take drugs. Shut up, Santa Claus. Coal in your stocking this year, dude.
I see that coming a mile away.
But when I had the chance to go meet Will, you know, the dude was so cool, and I told him about my group that I had made a few years prior on Facebook called the Promenade, which is basically a geek group for you know, people who are recovering addicts, people who are, you know, recovering from drugs, recovering from alcohol, recovering, you know, and it's just a place where it's drama free. We don't do politics, we don't do real world religion. It's just coming, you know, drama free geek. And he was like, you know, it's, you know, we used to play D&D as kids, and he was like, a place like that would have been really helpful. And when you connect with your childhood hero, you know, and he took the time to talk with me and really bond, you know, even if it was for a moment, you know. And that's one thing that I think Star Trek, you know, with a good part of the actors, you know, they realize what impact they have on people's lives. You know, I would have loved to have met Avery Brooks because he also was, you know, he had a huge impact on me as a person in my teen years, you know, growing up. Captain Sisko did, you know, that would have been amazing.
I think, it's interesting. Growing up, I never had any affinity for Captain Kirk. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. I didn't. It's not like I really had a preference among those three. You know, yep. And then Next Generation came on, which was okay. I was, you know, that was when I just graduated law. I was just last year law school, and then when I was coaching, and I wasn't that into it. And then Deep Space Nine came on, and it was the same time as Babylon 5. And those two shows, I was hooked. Yeah. And same thing. Sisko was like, I think the thing is, Sisko is the man I want to be. Yeah. Picard's not the man I want to be. Picard's like this guy over here who's, he's great and all, but he's not an aspirational figure.
Well, you can't with Picard, like, he's a great historical figure. Right. Sisko is a guy you can hang out with. He does the cooking. He's a good father figure. Like, he's a family man. He's a guy you
struggles with things.
Yeah, he's a guy.
He's thrust into a situation he's not prepared for.
Right. He's a guy you'd go to Burger King, have a burger with, you know, and you get, you know, he's the guy you want to follow in battle. You know, he's the perfect guy, in my opinion. You know, having, you know, I saw an interview with Cole Meany, and he was like, you know, they asked him, like, who do you like better? You know, do you like Picard or Sisko? And he's like, well, got to be honest, Picard's great, but I do like Cisco because he's the guy you would follow. He's the guy who you trust. You trust. I mean, you do trust Picard, but I mean, Cisco is more relatable, and that's where I think Cisco is like, he's a guy who you would fall off that cliff for, because I mean, you can relate to him in so many ways,
Yeah, he's got a very broad range of emotions.
Yeah.
More than I think we've seen. That really for any other captain. I mean, what captain has shown us as much of his soul or her soul as Cisco? Is that? There's a cat in the background. I was like, where'd that cat come from? We have 3 foster cats that we're taking care of. But yeah, I think that's about it with Cisco. I think it's just that he's so human.
Well, I think one of my favorite scenes that really made me take notice of Cisco was in The Search Part 2, when he walks into the Admiral's office. And of course, this is all just a dream in that episode, but he walks into the Admiral's office and he slams his hand down on the table and he's like, I want to know what the hell is going on here. I want to know why and he starts yelling at the Admiral and he doesn't give a fuck. And I'm just like, holy shit. Oh my God. Like,
yeah, he doesn't take shit from anyone.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like he'll take as much as he can, but once he snaps, he's like, man, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you, and it's like, I mean, and he's a very human person, and it's like Picard wouldn't have done that,
No.
I mean, the worst he ever did was the worst he ever did was in Star Trek First Contact. He hit some statues with a phaser, it's Cisco. He's like, no, I'll punch everybody in this goddamn room if you make me like, oh shit, I don't want to, I'm good,
Yeah, I mean, like Picard needed like being assimilated by the Borg and then going on a vengeance quest in order to push him to some real emotions.
Yeah.
Cisco's like right there below the surface, just don't piss him off.
Yeah. It's always bubbly. It's like Bruce Banner in the Avengers. He's like, I'm always mad, and then he turns off and
exactly. Exactly. There's so much great interchange between him and every character. I mean, I love the stuff with him and Nog too.
Yes,
the stuff with him and Nog was great, especially the episode where, what do you see? The episode where Nog wants to go to the academy. And,
that was both those with Aaron and Avery. Both that emotion,
I knocked the cat off.
The raw emotion from Aaron in that scene where he's like, I don't want to be my father. Dude, how many of us can relate to that? Where we're like, we need that chance. And for Avery to be like, hey, all right, because he pushes him. He's like, no, you don't.
He totally pushes him. And you're wondering, is he just pushing him for pushing him's sake, or does he really not believe it?
Yeah.
And which I don't think is really resolved, but I choose to believe that he was just pushing Nog because he wanted him to pull all that dredge up. As Howard Fine, one of my acting coaches used to say, you got to dredge that shit up, right? And that's what Avery was pushing Nog to do, is to dredge that shit up and be honest. Yeah. Just be fucking honest about shit. And he was. I always say I'm always waiting. I call that the officer and the gentleman scene, because it is just like Louis Gossett Jr. and Richard Gere in An Officer and a Gentleman. It's the same exact fucking scene, right? And I am always waiting for Nog to go, I got nowhere else to go, I'm just waiting for it, but it's so well played.
Yeah.
So well played. But that is that scene. And just done in a different context with different characters. But it is the purpose of both officers is getting that enlisted person to own up to why they want what they say they want.
I think Steve Atwell entered the chat. Welcome, Steve.
What's up, Steve?
I think that's one of the things that, I mean, DS9 I've always said is my favorite of the Star Trek series. It has even the sub characters take like Nog. He's more fleshed out than anybody, and he's more fleshed out than say like Dr. Crusher.
Yeah, and yes, I agree. Go ahead. I don't want to.
I mean, Garrick is more fleshed out than say like Troy. I mean, it's you have so many characters there that are more fleshed out than most of the main characters on the other Trek shows, and that's that is a real lived-in world, and it was such a treat to watch that because now we're used to stuff like that. But I mean, this is 25 years ago, we weren't used to television like that, and to sit there and see that in live action, and to think, hey, John Tesler, how are we doing, my friend?
Tesler, what's up, dude?
To sit there. Frank and I have had, we've literally sat there for hours and talked character motivation. It's not uncommon for me and to call Frank in the middle of the night. And, it's very much like that Jake from State Farm commercial where I'm like, I'm on the phone with Frank and Donna comes down the stairs and she's like, what you wearing? Vans from No Budget Productions, But I mean that show was very influential on how I perceive characters and how I write characters and how I think of films. And I know it's the same way for Frank. But I mean, these people were doing it 25 years, and it's because, DS9 was kind of the redheaded stepchild. Nobody fucking wanted to do anything with it. I mean, for me, the time zone was 10:35 on a Saturday night. Who's fucking watching that time? Nobody's watching. So they kind of gave them, kind of just do whatever you want. We don't care. We're going to focus on Voyager, and that to me, I'm like, that was genius. Inadvertently, that was genius on their part because they kind of got away with murder, and I think that kind of set the tone for Battlestar Galactica per se, because that that's very much in tone with that series as well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I just the interesting thing is we grow to love the characters in Deep Space Nine, and I cannot say that for Next Generation. I mean, now this may be entirely personal to me, but we learn about the characters. I mean, the only episode of any note for Counselor Troy, in my mind, is the one where she finds out she had a sister who died.
I forgot all about that.
With her mother.
I've forgotten about that one too, but now I remember it.
Yeah, I fucking cried in that episode. I was like, I mean, that was a lot was Major Barrett. She was so fucking good, and it was a well-written episode. But I just don't feel like those characters ever gained any real depth to them. Whereas, I mean, at the beginning, I hated Major Kira. I was like, what a fucking boring character. And Bashir was a nobody. And
right.
I was like, and Carl Meany was like, oh, yeah, the transporter guy from Next Gen, big deal. Nog was just this bratty little kid. There really was no one you really, I mean, Cisco at that point was, playing a white man because they wouldn't let him be Hawk, and it was kind of like, it wasn't bad. The first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine are not bad, except for the game. But other than that, it's not bad.
Wait. So you're not there in your house, playing hopscotch, singing Holla Moraine?
No. And so and there's like others, there's one a few good episodes. I think Deep Space Nine had the most good episodes in its first 2 seasons, despite being pretty mediocre. And then, right, does Worf get there in season 3 or in season
4?
I think it's 4. Yeah, 4.
So season 3 picked up and started being a lot more interesting, right? And then it's season 4, and Worf arrives, and Cisco becomes Hawk, and we're good. Since I say Cisco becomes Hawk, and I use that as reference for, I really think
Spencer for Hire.
Yeah. Oh, I liked his character in Spencer for Hire. I mean,
it was great.
It was.
And I'm not saying he's playing that character. I think that we've really recently, me and my buddies have been talking about how they basically whitewashed Cisco, Avery Brooks, the first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine, right? Rather than going, yeah, we like the bald head and the goatee and all that, they were like, we need you to look a little more less threatening for Star Trek fans. It was a bunch of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And that's all coming from CBS and Paramount, right? It's all a bunch of bullshit, which he does, and I don't like it. I'm offended by it. As a white man, I'm offended by that they made him do that. And then, because let's face it, Cisco becomes Cisco when he basically is like shaves his head, grows a goatee, and he's a badass, right? And so when
they let him be more him, and even Avery said that same thing when they finally stopped controlling. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I know, and so I really think that there's so much. So all those characters developed. Odo, maybe, yeah, Odo. They certainly tried. I never had any emotional connection with Odo. But then again, now that with Kira, and I think that's all personal preference. But I could just say Garak is my favorite character in all of Star Trek. Nog is one of my top 5. I'd never rank my favorite characters, so I'll have to think about it. But Nog is in my top 5. It's probably Garak, Cisco, and then maybe Nog. I mean, those may be my top 3 in all of Star Trek. And because of the way they're written, I think Deep Space Nine, you had Ron Moore on the writing team. You had Ira Bear there. Yeah, you just had some really quality people who, because of Next Generation, were allowed to get away with a lot of, with whatever they wanted. And it behind this, it quietly developed into the best Star Trek. And I think there are more people who think Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek series than any other series. I mean, you could break down Star Trek fandom. What is the best? Not your favorite. What's the best Star Trek? And I think Deep Space Nine wins going away because you can't really say Next Generation. There's so much, the first 2 seasons are bad 80s sci-fi, and there was some good. It got better, no question, and it's good. But is it Deep Space Nine good? No. And Voyager is just a ripoff of Next Generation, and Enterprise, forget it.
The problem with Next Gen, and again, I love Next Gen. I love Next Gen as much as I love DS9. The problem with the 2 different shows, and this is the problem with Voyager, and I don't love Voyager like I love Next Gen. So here's the difference between the 3 different shows, which came out around the same time. For the people who don't know, which I'm surprised anyone watching this, you should know, is Next Gen and Voyager had a problem with fluff. DS9 didn't have fluff. You had, your fluff episode for DS9 was far and few between, like maybe the Farthest Beyond the Stars episode. But that was the exception and not the case. Whereas with Next Generation, your first 2 seasons was kind of fluff, didn't get good till the 3rd season. And then 3rd, 4th, 5th was generally strong. 6 kind of starts getting weak, but it's still
7.
Yeah. 7th is nothing but fluff. You have an occasional, hey, we need to say our last respects to this character, but it's generally fluff. And Voyager is nothing but fluff with the occasional, hey, here's a reference to us getting home when Janeway's not, stopping off at a planet. So it's nothing but fluff. It was written to be fluff. So I would say TNG has that love, but it's got fluff. Voyager doesn't have the love, and it's nothing but fluff. DS9 it doesn't have that. Its first 2 seasons, well, I'd say first season and a half is maybe has some fluff there, but for the most part, it's very serialized and very much. You've got to watch this to this to this to this, and it matters because where they start is definitely not where they end. And Nog is a perfect example of that, a very easily forgotten character where he matters in every part of that Federation. And we would not be where we were in the battle to retake DS9. First Ferengian Starfleet, the battle on that planet, to where the Jemadar are attacking that colony. He's such an important character, and that's just a throwaway character, or I say that loosely. DS9 didn't have throwaway characters, whereas Voyager had them in abundance. look at the main cast. The main cast was throwaway characters. So go ahead and hang me, hang me, my fans, because I know there are going to be some of my fans that are like, "Fuck you, V-Man," So
No,
I said it.
I think it's good. I think we're all DS9 fans because the writing is so strong, and
Yeah.
I think they constantly put the characters. They constantly put the characters in moral dilemmas, not just physical dilemmas. Not just, oh, we've got a multi-dimensional rift. How do we handle it? No, they were constantly being put, and because you had a cast that was not all Starfleet, you had a range of ways in which they reacted to those. Garrick, right, reacted one way. You had Vic reacted in a very different way. You had Odo reacted in a totally alien way, right? Kira's coming from her back. So everyone is coming from a different background. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that that they could write it in such a different way. Write these characters and put them in situations that it wasn't a clear cut. It wasn't, oh, we got to solve this problem and move on.
Well, even Dave G brought up a very good point about the Ferengi episodes. Even though those were more comedic, you learn more about the Ferengi and their more comedic episodes and their kind of world building episodes that they had than you ever did with the Next Gen, where they were just very generic, dumb episodes. And I would say that they were used for comedy in Next Gen, but they were more lighthearted in DS9, and you learned about them and you cared about them and you actually learned to love them as people. Because even though they were more light in tone on DS9, from Brunt to the Grand Nagus to Rom, Nog, all of them, I mean, they all stand out on their own, and you love them, even though they were more lighthearted. But I really can't think of any Ferengi that mattered to me. I can think of the episode they were in, but I none of them really fucking matter on Next Gen. They were just there. So I mean, that's something that DS9 did that they made a species relevant that was supposed to be the main villain at the beginning of Next Generation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It was interesting. I just saw the new episode of Discovery, the first episode of season 4, and I'm a big fan of season 3 of Discovery. I thought season 3 was really good. The first 2 seasons I think struggled, although it was good science fiction. I didn't think it was great Star Trek. I just think we've talked about all the problems they had in season 1 and 2, and then I saw season 4, and I just the premiere episode. Now I really like Picard. I love Lower Decks. Haven't seen Prodigy yet, but I'm sure I'll love it. I mean, I think that they're doing a great job, right? I can't wait to see Strange New Worlds. I think the Kurtzman universe. Say what you will about it, it's really doing well, and it's doing well for Star Trek. But Discovery, I don't know. Season 4 left me going, I kind of feel like it's the Lion in the Wizard of Oz looking for its heart, or is that the Tin Man? The Tin Man is looking for his heart. Lion's looking for courage. I think it's the Tin Man. I'm like, where's your heart? I just feel like, I've kind of seen all this before. I'm just like, I don't know. I was kind of left not wanting to necessarily watch episode 2. And maybe I was in a bad mood. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Have you guys seen episode 1 of season 4?
Not yet.
I saw, I've seen the first 3 episodes, and I really enjoyed last season. This one, the first episode I was okay with.
So we've lost Vance right now. He should be coming back soon. Yeah, he has that happen to him on occasion. So
that's what happens when you live in the boondocks.
Yeah, he has more problems on Friday night trying to go from his work location. So
Frank, are you the one that built the shuttlecraft set in your garage?
Randy built Randy Landers is the one that I think you're thinking of Potemkin. Right now, I'm in the middle of building a very similar set in the garage. That's what I'm working on right now. Okay, that you may have seen some things that I've posted on my bridge set and stuff like that in my control panel for the helm.
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm sure we're friends on Facebook, right?
Yeah, right. I was the original creator for Dreadnought Dominion.
What's your last name, Frank?
Parker. Yeah, Frank Parker Jr. Now, I think I have you mainly under my Nefarious Ferrets.
I've got you in your Admiral's bomber jacket, which I will never see from Minovos since they screwed everyone.
Yeah.
Well,
no, actually, that's one that I picked up offline at one of the Chinese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was so looking forward to my bomber jacket from Minovos, and what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So,
well,
do you have photos of the set you're building?
I've got some. If you go to Nefarious Ferrets, you'll see some of the things I have. I'll send you a link to Crossroads, which is the new series that we're coming out with. That's the one that I'm coming out with. Vance has done some writing for it. We have one short film that has already come out. It's called Project Gemini, and it's just basically a setting up characters and things like that. It's a combox type thing.
Oh, it's Gary Davis who did that shuttlecraft set that I thought was
yeah, right. Yeah. Now, he used to be my partner when I was doing Dreadnought Dominion, because I started Dreadnought and then I got out of fan films for a while. And I did the first two, Anchors Away, Haunted. Then he and Randy continued forward. And I did my last one with them was called Passenger with Baggage. And that jumped me off to Crossroads, which is the spinoff.
Gotcha. Okay. Very, very, very cool. So, how many episodes have you done of Dreadnought Dominion?
Dreadnought Dominion, there's 1, 2, 3 that I was directly involved with, and I think they're up to 10 now. Like 10 or 11 full ones, because they had Command and Conquer. Actually, there's 4 that I've been involved with, because we also wrote one that Vance, myself, Gary, and Randy were in to complete that Command and Conquer Chain of Command. And then it's Cool, Calm, and Collected was a three film arch where I left, so they wrote me out, and then coming back, they wrote me back in 3 different universes. The first one that they did was in the Prime universe. The second one they did, Command and Conquer, was in the Mirror universe, and then we did Cool, Calm, and Collected in the Kelvin universe.
Oh my gosh!
So that was interesting.
Well, that's why it's good never to kill someone off. You never, it's the same with Avalon Universe. They brought back Mason. It's like, it's better not to kill someone, right? That way they can always come back.
Yeah. All they did was transfer me to Starfleet Academy. And so the first one was based on me getting command of the Harrison. And then I come aboard the Dreadnought to wrap everything up. And then at the end, they show my ship and stuff like that I've already got, the stuff for. And I didn't want to get tied down to a studio. So I decided I'm going to build, a small set in the garage. And since it is an experimental ship, I'm pretty, you can tell it's going to be a Starship ship, but it's not going to be exactly completely canon. Well, we were having a great talk. Why did you come back?
My fucking phone, dude, it fucking overheated, so I had to use Royce's thing. So, my God, dude, I'm
You're glad. I'm lucky I did come down. I wasn't going to come on because I'm working, but I came up to give you guys a hand with the phone. I'm kind of glad I did.
I'm fucking done with my phone, dude. I'm fucking done. I can't, dude. I'm at 92% on my phone. It fucking overheats. I'm in the middle of talking. I'm sitting there. I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? Oh my God, dude. Fuck.
So we were just basically talking about the sets and things like that. I love you, Vance. I'll tell you, brother.
So frustrating, dude. So frustrating.
I know.
Anyway, thank you for being patient with me.
Oh, no problem.
Good thing you came on, Frank. Thank you.
No, well, we had a good discussion. It was good.
This has been like the most technically wonderful. Alec has camera problems. My camera shuts off. This is fuck technology, dude. It's terrible. Oh man. So you guys continue. I'll just sit here and spy on you guys for a minute, and I'll jump in.
No, we were just talking. Frank was just talking about Dreadnought Dominion. That's all.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now? Oh, how many more episodes we got of Minard? Because I will say that's the one thing the one bad thing about you is you're like 0.001% James Cawley. You keep wanting to quit every year. Yeah, there's a reason for you to quit, and then you come to your senses and keep making it.
Well, I'm a constant burnout, dude. Like it's
tiring. I know.
And then like fucking drama from people in the fan film community because everybody's a dipshit. They have to have their way, or they have to do something, or they want to. Hey, can I be in a film? Sure, here, go ahead and do the simple thing, and then they don't want to do it, and it's like, really? Don't get me wrong. When they're on all cylinders and they're like, bam, 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 awesome, cool, but like when you're producing and then you're directing and then you're doing the cinematography and then you're doing the makeup and then you're doing location and then it's fucking tiring. And it's like, look, when I show up to a location and we're supposed to shoot for 5 people and 2 people show up and it's like, okay, I can't shoot with this. And half the time I'm sitting there rewriting scripts on the fly, and it's like, now it's starting to get dark. Okay, I can't work with that. So it's frustrating. So it's like that's the time where, that's where it's like, okay, yeah, I want to walk. I do want to leave and walk away. So it's like, what do you do with that? So yeah, I am in a constant state of I want to fucking be done. I do have a couple films that are 95% done or 90% done that I did fundraise for to help finish those films and then do my Batman film, do my Ghostbuster film. I had heard through the grapevine that you wanted to help do the final Minard film when I do choose to walk away.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, that's very appealing to say, hey, let's do that. Because I know I've talked with Wolf about, hey, when I finally do want to walk away, I kind of do want to have a party up at that, at the sets, not on the sets, but at the sets, to those who filmed there, to say, hey, let's have one final last shindig and, take some pictures and be done, and kind of get those last, hugs and selfies and tell one last story and, have like a final, Constar cake or something and call it good, but I'd say realistically, this is 8 years of me doing fan films. I won't be doing them past 10 years. If I have something's wrong. So that's all I really can say is I won't be doing it past 10. So
I've tied your legs together because you're still working on Crossroads.
no, I'll have all my stuff filmed by then. I'll have cameos for all my, like, I've given people enough time to, hey, I'm going to do cameos, but after that point, like I will have moved on doing other things because after that point, like, it's like pizza. Pizza's great, but you can only eat so much pizza before you're like, I'm fucking sick of pizza, and that's with Minard. Like,
I'm never like that.
I am. I got a big.
I grew up in New York. They put it in a blender and put it in our bottles when we're babies.
Alec, I'm a New Englander too, so he doesn't realize what he's gotten himself into.
I know. I'm tired of pizza.
I'm good. I'm good. There's other things I want to do. So I'm, it's, like I would enjoy, like I'd love to go work with you on a film, Alec. Doing something even if it's behind the scenes, like, hey, we need a gaffer, or we need someone to vacuum the carpet. Oh fuck, I'll do that, Alec. I don't mind.
Behind scenes is most fun most of the time. Behind the scenes is a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's plenty. For any of those who've watched the Minard films, out of the 108 films that I have, or 111, I think there's like 20 of them that don't even have Minard in it. And it's because I enjoy getting behind the camera. I love directing. And I don't like acting behind the camera anymore. It's so distracting to be behind the camera and then have to, break character to be behind the camera and then get back in character. I don't like that. I'd rather be behind the camera. If I'm being honest, like I love bringing out a performance from someone else and helping them be a better performer. So for Minard, it's like I said, there's a certain shelf life where, hey, let's bow out and let's let other people shine, man, because it's not about me. So I mean, there may be more Constar stories at some point, but for Minard, nah, it's there's a shelf life there. So
and I understand that because after our discussion on that, I was sitting there and, going up to Randy's and, working there and watching what he's doing. I really felt I had more fun, watching behind the scenes, because I do the photography too, and wanting to do that photography and, do not necessarily the directing or maybe a little bit of the directing, but to watch others produce what they're producing. In a lot of ways, it's more challenging and more relaxing to be able to see that.
Exactly. Yeah, so Ian Mitchell just joined us in chat. He says, "Hey Vance, hey Frank,
Hey Ian, how you doing, brother?"
Hey Ian. Yeah, it is more fun to do that. So, what do you have on the horizon, Alec? Because I hear you have some Axanar things coming up.
Yes, everyone should tune in tonight to Axanar Confidential at 10 o'clock, where we've got some big news about our LA shoot that I'll be revealing.
Oh, cool.
And it actually relates to the hole in my wall back there in my display. Something's missing. Would you please leave me alone? God, cats. I swear to God.
They like to type, trust me.
Oh, I know. It's like, what are you doing? You can't even spell. So yeah, I mean, we had our shoot 2 weeks ago, and it went fantastic. It doesn't matter how many times I put him on the floor; he winds up back up here. And it was our shoot 2 weeks ago was a 10 out of 10. It was perfect. It was perfect because, we had a good shoot 2 years ago. Unfortunately, because of certain individuals, the end product was mediocre and unusable. I mean, and so we had a shoot. We basically fired our director, and we brought in two directors. Ted Brunetti, who's one of the top acting coaches in the United States, who's James Gandolfini's acting coach, and I worked with him many times. And we brought him in to handle the performances of the actors. And then Mark Edward Lewis, who's been with me for 8 years, and who's our editor, handled the photography end of things with our DP. So Mark handled, it's got to look this way. So his whole focus was the look. Ted was performance. So you put those together, and it was great because the footage we got looks like Prelude, whereas the footage we got 2 years ago, some of it looks like crap. The good stuff is just poorly lit. It's just so flat. It's just, there's nothing dramatic about it. And the performances were, our two best actors gave the worst performances 2 years ago. And that's just because, I won't go into it, but
Right.
Now all those problems solved. The shoot, every aspect of the shoot was a 10.
Firing on all cylinders.
Everyone, what we got was perfect. We hit our schedule. We had a blast. Everyone had fun. We did the whole shoot for $7,000.
Oh wow!
The whole shoot, one day shoot. That's 2 red cameras. Look, buddy. Stop it. All professional equipment, shot in 6K. We had a great studio. We used one of the local high schools that has one of the top high school films studios in Atlanta, probably the top. And so we had a ton of room. We had a huge room that we used for the green room. We had a huge room we used for the live stream and the behind the scenes shooting and other things. We didn't have that many volunteers. We only had maybe half a dozen volunteers, which we just had to because of COVID. We were COVID compliant. It was great. It was going to give us what we want. So now we're working on the LA shoot, which will be 3 days in LA in end of January or February. And I'm just totally fired up about it. It's just,
You're not too far away from me then. I'm in Charlotte.
Oh, I was just in Charlotte this past week.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in Gastonia, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. I drove through it on the way to where I was going.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, I didn't realize we were that close.
How far
I went to
are
law
you
school at Chapel Hill.
Yeah. Ah, okay. That
How
explains
far are you
that.
from-
I'm 3.5 hours from Charlotte.
Yeah, that's just about yeah. So that's not bad. We go out to Atlanta for a Phil convention every once in a while. The Phil got by the airport, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, Frank, what do you have on the horizon coming up?
Basically, I sorry if you saw my typing there. Gary just got in touch with me. One of my helpers, he's going to pick up the 2x4s tomorrow, so we can start building the platform in the for the deck. So that's what we're doing. And then next week, and I hope we do some filming with. I've already talked to Jason Hurt to do that one that we're going to do out of the shuttle. So I've got to do some green screening and figure out how we can fake a green screen on that. I got some ideas for that. We'll talk about that later on.
Hey.
Whoever we have that's going to be doing the green screening effects on that, I've got some ideas. So.
Awesome. Well, it's been almost an hour now, so I think it's time to cut it loose. But Alec, I'm sure we'll be talking before Christmas time, but if we don't...
Absolutely. We'll talk before that.
Well, just in case, I'm covering my bases. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
But I know we will. And Frank, I'm not saying nothing to you.
You're not going to say nothing to me. You'll be talking to me probably Christmas Eve at 3 o'clock in the morning on there going, by the way, I just thought of something. Oh, God, what is it this time?
Which is usually
But Alex, if you do need volunteers out there to help you behind the scenes, just drop me a note. And if we are able to, I mean, we're only 3.5 hours away. I'd be more than happy to go out and, pull a set around or something for you.
Absolutely. You need to, we're going to, I'm sure January is when we're finally going to get around to putting our bridge set back together. So if you want to come down and help with that, we could always use extra hands. I know we've talked to Glenn Wolf about he's interested in coming down with Josh Irwin and helping us when we do that.
Yeah, let me know.
Frank's experience on working at the Georgia sets. I mean, you know exactly how that stuff's done. So I mean, it wouldn't be nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I helped build those sets down there with Mike and that Mike Bednar and stuff before the other things. But anyways, we won't. We do not discuss that.
Mike Bednar, I thought Vic single-handedly built all those sets. I mean, that's what he says.
I saw him once pick up a paintbrush and paint something yellow.
To which he gave himself a credit in Star Trek Continues.
Yeah,
He only has a painter credit.
I will have to say one thing. His credits do still contain the set crews that actually built that. He never took those out, so that's
good.
The one minor thing that he did actually. He kept all those credits in there, but yeah, there's a. We'll talk about it sometime.
All right, guys. I got to get this cat and lock him upstairs.
All right. On that note, everybody in the chat, thank you for coming.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody watching this on the rewind, thank you for coming. And on that note, everybody be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.
All right.